Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Your Home Billings Podcast. Today we have Laura Dreger, broker owner of Dreger Real Estate. Laura, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you, Mark.
Laura, describe the real estate market and what trends are happening in 2026.
Mark, thanks for asking. The real estate market in Billings is fairly stable. And one of the things that we're seeing right now is due to the weather, sellers are looking at putting their homes on the market. So we're seeing an increase in some of the properties, a little bit increase in available inventory for buyers to look at. And we're also seeing an increase in the buyers that are interested in looking. Part of that's a little bit of the dip that's happened in the interest rates. But the other thing is with the nice weather, people are seeing that maybe it'd be nice to have a backyard for the kids to play in, a fenced yard for Fido that they can let out, and, a place to call home.
Yeah. Wow, Laura, I'm really curious about what you said a little bit earlier. You said Billings is one of the cheapest areas to buy a home in Montana. Now, is that including the smaller towns, or are we strictly talking about the larger cities in Montana?
Across the state, we have data that suggests that the average home of a price is around $350,000, and that includes those real rural communities, as well as taking into account the markets in Bozeman, Flathead, and Missoula. Obviously, we're going to be much more affordable than those three markets, but even in some of the rural communities, things are driving prices up. And so it's not as easy or not as cheap to buy property as people think it is.
Wow, interesting. What's the biggest financial mistake someone can make when buying a house?
Honestly, Mark, the biggest financial mistake that buyers make is waiting until they feel like the interest rates are low. When I first bought my home, we were talking double digits for interest rates, so 6% seems really reasonable to me. But to those people who have been looking recently, the last 5 years, they may have seen when their interest rates were down around 3%. We're probably not going to get there again. Interest rates have started to come down, but what we see is that it's not coming down as quickly as people think it would come down. And the appreciation in the value of the property, if they buy it now, is going to be significantly more than what they would recognize in lower interest rates.
Laura, I want to touch back on the interest rates. You talked about it a little bit. You said highs of double digits, which I'm comfortable buying a car with a double-digit interest rate, but a home loan at double digits? That's insane.
There's horror stories out there of people that had 18% interest rates on their homes some time ago. Obviously, we haven't seen that in the market in recent years, but double digits, 10%. When I bought my first home, it was 10% interest rates, and that was with Montana Board of Housing money. So...
Wow. So, Laura, when you bought your house at a 10%, did you think now's the right time to buy? 10% interest rate, this is as low as it's going to go.
You know, when I first bought my first home, I was more concerned about having a home of my own, a place where my kids could grow up, and being able to hang a picture on the wall where I wanted to put it, rather than where my landlord said I could have it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Being able to get a home, purchase a home, and create it to be your personal space, right? That's what's most important.
Right.
So, Laura, what are the 3 top myths that people believe about the real estate market now?
The first myth that I would say is homeowners believe that the taxable value that's on their tax statements is lower than what the actual value of their home is. The state has started a reassessment program that every 2 years they reassess the value of property. So when you think about maybe 5-6 years ago, maybe the taxable value was 15% lower than the value of the home, that's no longer the case. So that's myth number 1. Myth number 2 is that it's cheaper to buy without the assistance of a realtor. The reality is realtors know this is their profession. They are very comfortable being the consultant for the buyer, and they will know sometimes things that they can negotiate prices down for the buyer, where the buyer unrepresented might not have that opportunity. The third myth, And I hear this all the time. Oh, you're a realtor. You must be rich. We're not rich. We're working people just like everyone else. And we're involved in the community. So one of my best friends in the real estate industry, they serve on city boards. They serve on the Parks Board. They're active with nonprofits. And so they're members of the community, and they're doing good things to improve the quality of life for the members of our community.
We're doing a giveaway, but here's the catch. Somewhere in this episode, there's a secret code that's going to pop up on the screen. If you catch it, head over to yourhomebillings.com. Enter that code under the giveaway section along with your info, and you'll be entered to win the giveaway that's listed on the site. That's it. No purchase, no hoops. Just watch, grab the code, and enter. All right, now let's get back into it. Now, I heard an interesting statistic, something about realtors, like 80% of realtors don't make a sale in their first year or something like that. Now, it seems so crazy, a crazy statistic, but is it something that you can agree with, or do you know the actual numbers?
I don't know the actual numbers. If I'd had some time to research it, we have the National Association of Realtors. If you're a realtor member, then you have access to statistics for things like that. But the reality of it is there are about 20% of the realtors that are doing 80% of the business. And those are the individuals that you would want to work with because they know what the trends are. They're educated on the negotiation tactics, and they understand the market very well.
Oh, interesting. So, Laura, talking about the negotiation a little bit, what really makes the best offer?
That a buyer is coming in with an offer that is a strong offer, that they are conscientious and recognize that the seller has needs that need to be met as well, and that if there's an opportunity to have a win-win in the situation, that's really what we're looking for. The best offer is usually brought by a buyer that's represented by a realtor who has the opportunity to provide professional consultation on the real estate market, negotiating tactics. They will know what kind of conditions to watch for in the sale of a property. Most people, right now, the home buyers, first-time home buyers, average age is 40 years old. So they've never done this. The next age of the move-up buyer right now across the U.S. is 62 years old. So that's 22 years between transactions. It's not something that you're going to do on a regular basis,
Right.
So you want to have that professional representation.
So, Laura, we talked a little bit about the offer. I'm curious, when you work with a realtor and a realtor's giving you ideas or thoughts saying like, hey, this home is really sought after. There's a lot of offers in on it. I want you to throw in your best offer. That's not some sales tactic, right? It's actually genuinely the realtor saying like, hey, if you really want this home, this is what I would recommend.
That's absolutely true. I recently had a property on the market. I had 3 offers that came in on that property. Oh, wow. So we are still seeing situations where there are multiple offers on properties. If your real estate agent is saying this is a popular home or the activity is strong here, come in with your best offer, please listen to your realtor. They're offering you professional advice.
So, Laura, let's talk about some experiences you might have had. What makes a deal fall apart at the last moment?
Oh, I've had some really interesting ones. The first thing I would say is that contingencies are not met. For example, they couldn't get, their financing falls apart. Sometimes, unfortunately, buyers will experience a change in their employment. Sometimes you have a situation where they can't get insurance at a rate that will meet their income to debt ratio, and that can cause the deal to fall apart.
1 second, Laura. All right, guys, don't skip this. Here's the code on the screen now. So, Laura, what are the top 3 factors that really determine whether a home sells fast or sits?
Oh, this is an easy one. Price, condition, and location.
Wow.
Those are the three most important aspects or factors in purchasing a home. And if a seller comes in and wants to price too high, the activity on that property is going to reflect. If it's priced too high, they may not get the showings that it takes to get an offer. If the condition of the property if it doesn't look like the owner's taken care of it, for example, one of the easiest things for a seller to do is to walk through the house and check to see if there are any burned out light bulbs.
Wow.
Because that sends a subliminal message to your buyer that the seller doesn't care about the property and they haven't taken care of it. So simple little things like that. Property, the location is something that can't be moved, but sometimes that'll have an impact on the price that the listing agent suggests that the seller put on that property. If you come in with expectations that your home is worth more than it actually is, here's what I like to tell my sellers. Your home is worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it. And that's really an important aspect for sellers to remember. It's not what the taxable value is. It's not what your friends tell you it is. And it's not just something that you picked out of the air because that's what it's going to take for you to sell your home. The object for a seller is to sell the property, not just list the property. And so sitting on the market for an extended period of time doesn't do the seller any good. They get anxious about the property being on the market. If they're still living in the home, it's inconvenient because they have showings that are going on at times that may or may not be convenient for them where they need to leave the property. If it's sitting on the market for too long, the buyers that are looking at it are going, oh, this has been on the market for 4 months. Something's wrong with the house. So it's really important. The most important thing for a seller is to price that property well. Listen to what your real estate agent is telling you. They understand that your home is worth what the buyers are willing to pay for it, and they can look at what the sales of comparable properties in the market that the appraisers are going to be looking at when they appraise the value of your home. And that's very important because you don't want to have your buyer come in, make an offer that meets your expectations, but when the appraiser comes in and appraises the property at a lower price, now the seller has to come back and negotiate with the buyer or that deal tanks.
Laura, I want to touch back on that. You said location, price, and condition, right?
Right.
The three things. Well, let me throw a scenario your way. Let's say an individual takes care of his home, upgrades it, puts in brand new this, brand new that, siding, roofing, even it puts expansions onto the home. But he's just in a terrible location. But he knows what his home's worth. He wants this price to be what he's put effort into the home, you know? Have you ever ran into a scenario like that? And would you recommend that he drop his price down, or is that something you would walk away from?
That's a very interesting scenario. So I've been in real estate 8 years. The smoothest transaction I've ever had was a seller that did the updates, new flooring throughout the entire unit, new paint, had the HVAC serviced, new hot water heater, had the appliances looked at, actually replaced some of the appliances. And while she knew what she had spent on renovating that unit or that home, she also recognized that it was time for her to be able to move past that and move to the next stage of her life. And so I came in, made a suggestion, said, here's where we can be on the pricing. We can go up slightly based on some of the improvements and the updates that you've done, but let's not overprice ourselves in the market. We had that property on the market for 48 hours, got an accepted offer, and it was above what her asking price was.
Really?
We closed that deal in less than 30 days. So having a seller that is willing to do those updates she was meticulous. She would go over and sweep the garage because when the garage got opened, leaves might blow in. So she was meticulous in maintaining the property.
Yes.
And it showed her, the pride of ownership showed when the individuals came and toured the property.
Wow, I know a couple people like that personally. I got to say, their house is always perfect to every T. And if they were to sell it to me at that point, if I was buying, I'd be like, yeah, of course I'd buy your house, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So has there ever been a situation where you wanted to talk a buyer or a seller out of wanting to buy or sell a house?
There has been.
Oh.
So I have represented multiple people with different goals. And one of the things that I do when I'm working with a buyer is I sit down with them right out of the gate and I ask them, what are your goals? Why are you buying a property? What do you need? And sometimes I've had situations where buyers have walked in and they went, this is it. And I took a step back and I went, you wanted 4 bedrooms, you wanted a 3-car garage, and you wanted main floor living. This has none of those things. Let's revisit your goals. Is this something that you can live with? I've had situations where the buyers have decided to go look at a different property, and I've had a situation where the buyers have ended up purchasing that property because they just loved it so much.
Have they ever come back to you and said, like, Laura, I don't know what I was thinking?
No, because I remind them what their goals are before we get to the writing the offer.
That's smart. That's very smart. Laura, you've already shared so many experiences where you went above and beyond for your clientele. But is there a story in particular that you can recall that you really just want to share?
Oh my, there's been so many. Real estate is not a one-size-fits-all career. And that's one of the things I love about real estate is that every transaction is different. As I said, I interview my buyer clients for what their goals are, and I try to bring them back around to recognize what those goals are. One of my favorite transactions that I think about was I think I showed these people 50 homes. It was a busy market. They were moving from out of state, and they had decided he wanted one thing, she wanted another. And so we got to house number 49,
Yeah.
and I said, let's take a step back. We need to discuss what it is that you're really looking for, because what you're asking me to show you do not meet the criteria of what your goals are that you set at the beginning of this process. And it was nice that I brought them back together. We found a home that was absolutely perfect for them.
Oh, good.
And they're still living in that home today.
Oh, awesome. So that story kind of sounds like a standard woman, man kind of button heads. I know I had that kind of problem with my personal story of trying to buy a home. And she wanted this and I wanted this. And eventually after the second home, I was like, you can get whatever you want. And I was happy with it. Now that didn't quite happen. You sat down with them again. You discovered their needs and their goals and found a home that fit perfect for both of them.
The reality of it is she got what she wanted.
Yeah.
And so
truth.
you will find that that happens more often than not. But I also try to help the individuals be realistic. I've worked with clients where he was the one that may have been a little bit unrealistic with his expectations, and I helped bring him back to center where, okay, that's what you want, but this is really what your family needs. So let's take a look. Let's take a step back. Let's start looking at homes for what it is that that meets your family's goals.
Wow, that is awesome. Laura, what are 3 things that separate you from other realtors?
I'm a lifelong learner, first of all, and with that core value, one of the things I do is it's important to me to be knowledgeable. So I spend a lot of time getting education. To keep my license, the state requires that I have 12 hours of continuing education each year. Last year, I had in excess of 60 hours.
Wow.
And the reason I do that is because I want to be able to represent my clients in the best of my ability and to have the knowledge and the skills to negotiate and get them the best deal that we can find for them. So knowledge is one of the things. My commitment, I'm a very hard worker. I'm committed to the industry. That's evident through my involvement in the association, where I have served on multiple committees. One of the things that a lot of people don't know about me is that I serve on local committees, I serve on state committees, and I also serve at a national level. So one of my experiences, this is a little off topic, but in 2024, there was proposed legislation that was going to change the environmental requirements for building electrical transformers. And with that change for EPA, that was going to delay transformer manufacturers by additional 2 years. So what that means to home buyers, and I took it just that extra step. What does that mean to my home buyers? It means that those individuals, the builders that are developing subdivisions, are going to have an additional 2-year wait. Those home buyers are going to experience that same 2-year wait. So I met with Senator Tester at the time, and I explained to him that this was not a good situation for the availability of housing for Montanans. And would he please sign on to have this bill defeated? And Senator Tester did agree to that. Wow. He was one of the sponsors that defeated that EPA requirement, and I'm happy to say that subdivision developers are able to provide housing and move forward with their subdivisions.
Wow. Let's go, Laura.
Yay!
So Laura, you talked a little bit about you being very involved in the community, or at least I know you are. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, some of the things you do around the community?
Well, I currently sit on the Billings Parks and Recreation Board. I'm serving my second term. I was on the steering committee for Castle Rock Park to bring back the playground, to have the playground built in Castle Rock Park, because when I first moved to Billings, there was a playground there. They took that out more than 25 years ago. So Castle Rock Park, which is one of our regional parks, one of the largest parks in the city, did not even have a playground for children. And so that was one of the things that I worked on, was the development of that playground out there. So I was one of the people who applied or who approved getting that zip line out there. So if you have kids, take them out there. Yeah. It's really fun. Castle Rock Park. I have also served on the County Water Board for Billings Heights Water District. I'm no longer serving on that board, but I'm still actively involved in the ideas that come forth. They're currently exploring merging the water district in the Heights with the City of Billings Public Works. So that's something that's happening. I also have served on the Heights Task Force, where that's one of the places where people that have requests for rezoning, they may bring their request, or the city may send that to the Heights Task Force or to the local task force for that part of the community. I know we have a Midtown Task Force, we have a West End Task Force, we have a North Park Task Force, and of course there's the South Park Task Force, which has been extremely successful in Billings with the Suburra District, where they've got Sam's Club, they've got Cabela's. Now we're getting the Amon Park Recreational Center and the hockey center that's being built. I'm so excited about those things.
Me too.
They are going to be wonderful additions to our community.
So Laura, I want to touch on that. If you know about those additions that are going on, you must know about the Burger King that was down there that got destroyed. I want to hear some information on that.
You know, I have asked about that, and I haven't gotten any answers yet. So I will share that with you, Mark, when I find out what's going in there.
Interesting. Okay, well, Laura, for anyone who's looking to buy or sell their home or just have questions about their home in general, how can they contact you?
They can reach me by phone. My phone number is 406-698-5265. They could also check out my website, which is drager.realestate. And that's Drager Real Estate. Contact me for results that move you.
Thank you, Laura, for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Mark, for having me.